I love you too. Welcome to Bima. I've just arrived in the city of Bima from Bali. I caught the ship here, and if you want to see that journey, you can watch my previous video. But as far as Bima goes, I've arrived and I'm now on the hunt for accommodation. Now that's always a bit of a hassle when you get to transport places, and it's a little bit like this. You know, there's people shouting out, do you want transport and whatnot. So I'm just going to go for a bit of a walk and see if I can find something fairly close to the port, to be honest, and then from there I'll sort of branch out. I know that the centre of town's a little bit away from the port, and I'm not really in the mood to sort of walk right into the centre just yet. So I'll get that accommodation and then we'll have a bit of a look around. Just asked to look at a room here at Little Losman for 150,000 a night. It's really close to the port. So this is a losmen. Losmen is a very basic form of accommodation in Indonesia. You don't see them so much anymore. You do in the regions, but in Bali you wouldn't really see it. It's old school. That's your shower there, bucket shower. So cold water only, just throw the bucket over yourself, and then a squat toilet. If you've never used a squat toilet before and you come across one for the first time, it can be quite jarring. But if you've used them before, it's not a big deal, to be honest. In this sort of price range, you never get air conditioning. You would almost never get hot water, and yeah, you're basically looking at a place that's only got one sort of colokan, one power point. It's very basic. This is just so normal throughout Indonesia if you're doing it the adventurous way. Now, having said that, if you want a bit more luxury, if you pay around the 400,000 rupiah per night mark, you're definitely going to get a proper hotel, proper bathroom, hot water, air conditioning, all the features. You might even get breakfast thrown in for that price in the centre of town as well. So there's those options usually if you're willing to pay a little bit more, and you don't really want to do it this sort of more budget style. I got myself a motorbike and I stumbled upon this little tourism sign. Whenever you see Dinas Pariwisata, you know there's something that the local tourism department has taken an interest in, and this place is called Doro Parapimpi. And for those of you who know me, you know that I love my B-grade attractions, and this is probably one of the great B-grade attractions. But that's good because you don't get the Instagram crowd here, but there's some interesting facts behind it, and that's what makes these B-grade attractions really interesting. I read that there's some sort of land dispute here, so someone's had to put a fence up to block people. But basically, this Doro Parapimpi is a hill that was used as a meeting place for the chieftains of the area going back hundreds of years. So if we go back into much further history, we go back to the Majapahit Empire, a Hindu empire which spread across most of Indonesia, and that actually reached to Sumbawa. When Islam came into the region, the local leaders converted to Islam and made their own sultanate. So they were sultans, they were rulers of the local area, and they would hold court just behind these pieces of tin here and make decisions about the whole area, probably the whole island as well. It's a really, it is a B-grade attraction, but I love it because the history attached to it's really important. But it doesn't get all the likes on Instagram, so you won't get too many people coming here. In fact, I just spoke to a local and I said, do you know what this is? And they didn't know, which is a bit sad really. I had to go and get on the internet and find out a bit of information about it. So there you go, a bit of information, a bit of a history lesson about Bima. I really love it. We've got people down here selling a bit of food. That looks interesting. Oh, salome goreng. I don't even know what that is. Probably something a bit more regional than what I'm accustomed to. We see that word pariwisata again, which means tourism. It means we're at a tourism attraction, and this time we're at the, it's called Bekas Istana Kesultanan Bima. Basically means the old royal palace. The old royal palace. And apparently it's also a museum. Now I'm going to have a spin through there. I'm not going to show you all the exhibits and that sort of stuff. If you really want to see all of that, you'll have to come here yourself. So let's have a look inside this building. I mean, it looks pretty cool from the outside. That is a royal palace if I've ever seen one. I've got some people will be embarrassed here. I've got to take off my shoes. So just walking around this palace, and this is actually the bedroom of the ex-sultan. It's actually pretty nice. Like, really big, nice wooden floors, beautiful wooden floors.
Kita mulai dari kamar
banyak anak. This is a place where all the school kids come for their school excursion as well. So apparently they're still making this traditional cloth in the regions. Now I'm sure, and they're using traditional methods, I'm sure that's quite difficult to find, but that would be a really fantastic little adventure to go and explore some of those villages to see some of the materials that they're still making out there. I know there's a place called Threads of Life in Ubud, which has already done a lot of that work around Indonesia, looking for villages that are still producing cloth the old traditional way, weaving. And they're still doing it here in Sumbawa in some places. Selamat datang di Bima! Way! That there is the Grand Mosque of Bima, the main mosque. There are other very nice mosques in Bima, but that's the big gold one. Just stopping to get some nanas, which is pineapple. Cost 10,000 for a little bag. Looking forward to this. We've got some monkeys here. Awesome. Do love a little tribe of monkeys like this. They're just rummaging through the scraps that people are throwing out the window, and people throw bits of fruit and rubbish, all sorts of stuff, and the monkeys just come and rummage. We've actually gone up a little bit in elevation now from the main town. So we're on our way out of town, up into the hills, and we've only gone up a couple of 100 meters, but the temperature's really dropped to quite a pleasant temperature. It's still warm, but it's quite pleasant up here compared to the lowlands where it's really just hot, hot, hot. So this is Situs Uma Lenge Wawo. It's a bit of a mouthful, but it's essentially a cultural site or a historical site where this is the way that people used to live. They used to live in these things, and later on they were converted into little rice barns as well. But it's the old way that people in this region lived. And you can see some of them have little houses above the platform below, like that one there, a little door with a house in it. Local people now just hang out here. Hello.
Hi.
There's lots of cats. Hello. Very cute cats. Don't have a lot of meat on the bone, these cats. They must do it tough out here. But yeah, it's quite an interesting little site. It's about a half hour sort of drive outside of Bima. So I've just zipped up here along the main highway between, well, it's the main highway across Indonesia actually, the main highway across Sumbawa. It's on the side of the road. Another one of these spots that no one's going to come to because it's not Instagrammable, but it's certainly something which is quite interesting. I mean, as far as history goes, I don't know how old these things are because there's not a lot of information around. They do have a little guide on site, but he only speaks Indonesian. I chose not to take him up on the offer of taking me around. Yeah, so if you do come here, you might need to do a bit of research before you come here to understand a little bit more what you're looking at. Tourism in the outside areas of Indonesia like this is pretty normal for it to look like this. You know, a little bit unstructured, not too well managed, and you know, it's quite basic still because the infrastructure's not there and there's not that many people arriving. Even in somewhere like Java, which has a few more tourists, there are some unreal sites to visit, some old Hindu sites which are over 1,000 years old, and they're not that well maintained, honestly. This is a cute cat here. Black one. Eyes are a bit sakit. Kalian asli dari mana?
Dari
Sape, dari Sape. Oh. Tahu nggak ada kapal besok dari Sape ke Labuan Bajo? Ya.
Mister dari mana?
Asli dari Australia. Ya. Jalan-jalan hari ini? Kalian jalan-jalan hari ini?
Kerja.
Kerja di sini.
Dan istirahat.
Jalan-jalan gitu.
Bilang jalan-jalan ya.
So I've been driving along the road and seeing lots of corn being dried on the side of the road like that. And then I came across this big operation which I thought was really interesting. What they do, they bag up all the corn, they harvest the corn, put it in the bag, and then they use this large machine over here to strip all the kernels off the corn cob, and then obviously they use those corn kernels to dry them out like that. And they're rock hard, those corn kernels are rock hard. If you look at the corn cob here, they're already a little bit dry. They're already quite dry. Needless to say, you'd be using earplugs if you were doing this job in somewhere like Australia, because it is so noisy, so noisy. Those guys will definitely have damaged hearing as the years go by. But look at this massive big pile of dried corn. I wonder if they get a good price for that. Bang, kalau harga per kilo, berapa jual?
Sekarang biasanya antara
42-41 per kilo.
Ya.
Oh, dan dari mungkin satu hektar dapat berapa?
ada yang 10 ton, 8 ton.
Wow, dari satu hektar. Jadi industri di daerah ini kebanyakan fokus ke jagung.
Ya.
Untuk dijual untuk apa? Untuk makanan ayam atau?
Ya, biasanya makan ayam, makan makanan anak-anak kecil itu.
Oh iya?
Ya,
Karena ini udah kering ya.
ya.
Jadi sebelum proses ini udah dijemur.
Aduh, ini harus jemur.
Karena kalau aku pegang di karung itu masih agak kering.
Jemur ya. Kalau sudah dingin, baru jemur lagi.
Supaya keras.
Ya.
Oke, makasih ya. Oke, mari ya.
Ya.
Now I'm back in Kota Bima, down from the mountains. I just had a little bite to eat, and I just came past this little alleyway and saw this. A yellow bridge. How cool is this thing here? Hello. It's a bit busted up, but I love these little suspension bridges like this. Look at it. Awesome. Hello. Hello. Lagi apa? Lagi main. Hey! This is pretty cool. Along the river. So many young kids here. I've noticed really lots of young kids shouting out, "Bule, bule, bule." Bule! There's so many young kids though. I've really noticed that it's a striking contrast really to what I see in Bali. The amount of young kids here is just phenomenal. Phenomenal. Well, at least they look healthy. Hello. Some people get offended by the word bule. I don't care, as long as it's said respectfully. Along a lot of the rivers, almost in all of Indonesia, those little canals, you find poorer groups of people living. Even in Bali, sometimes it's a little bit like that, but especially in the rest of Indonesia, just a classic case of a lot of poor people crowding around those canals. Usually pretty filthy too. I was actually coming up for sunset and past this event over here. Look at this. This is crazy. I don't know what sort of event it is. Some sort of big event here. It's crazy. Oh, soccer. Whee! Hello. I love you too. Hello. Hello. Yeah, it's amazing that the people are so friendly. Yeah. Lady keeps saying she loves me. Oh, look at the crowd following now. Oh, yeah. Wow, that's a great little event. I love stopping at those little places. Everyone's so happy. So happy. Just really lovely, lovely people. I'll continue on to that sunset I said I was going to. Oh, hello. Kenapa? Ngomong bahasa Indonesia, ngomong bahasa Indonesia.
Bahasa Indonesia. What are you good?
What?
What are you good?
What am I good?
Dia mau bahasa dia mau minta.
Nggak masuk akal itu.
Hello,
Hello, mister.
Hello.
Where are you?
My name is Adam.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah.
Where are you, mister? Where are you from?
Australia.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Where are you from? Yeah. Okay, Mari, yeah? Yeah. So we're at Taman Amahami, which is a park on the outskirts of town. I've come down here because it looks like a good sunset point. There's a mosque over there behind the trees, which I can't really get too close to. So what I might do is actually get my drone up and see if I can get some shots of it with a drone. See what the sunset looks like from above as well. I'll just show you what it looks like when you get closer down to the water though. The water's actually surut at the moment, or it's sort of low tide. So you've got mud flats. Yeah, you've got the mud flats there, but at high tide it'll probably look better than that. But it's still pretty beautiful, isn't it? What an absolutely fantastic place Bima is. I've really enjoyed being here. Much more than I expected, to be honest. I mean, there's nothing here in terms of your typical tourism spots, which is what I really like. So it means you can go and explore on your own, have a look at a few different bits and pieces, get to understand the history, go and speak to the local people, see what they're doing. And they're just so nice. It actually dispels a few of the myths about people from Sumbawa that I've heard from time to time. Totally wrong. The people that I've met have been absolutely wonderful and so friendly. I've loved it. I love this sunset, but we do have to keep moving. And tomorrow I'll be moving along again. I don't know where I'm going to end up, but I'm going to try and head east. I don't know how far I can get because it all depends on how transport works out. Come along with me as I go further east. Thanks for watching. Make sure you hit that subscribe button to keep up to date with all things Sanur and the rest of Indonesia. I'll catch you next time.